I know. Big and easy. That's the way you should have your gin, Sarah. Big and easy, isn't it? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this special edition of our usual VTs tonight. I'm your host, Danny Brosnan. I'm joined by the best in the West, James Grennan, and our own Sarah Duffy, our ginspert, who is commonly known as Mrs. Doyle, because it's a case of go on, and she has another gin. That's the only time you'd hear that.
Drinking gin.
James, I believe you have some news about Connacht training session, so I'll hand over to you for that one.
Yeah, just I got a very interesting email there just from Connacht Rugby. They have a nice coaching session on next Wednesday on 14th of December, starting at 6:30. They're doing a positionals based coaching session there for 14 to 19-year-olds for focus on kicking or the various positions. The coaches on the night are going to be Jack Carty, Nicole Frawley, Kieran Marmion, Conor Fitzgerald and David Hawkshaw, and there may be one or two more surprise guests as well on the night. And all participants are going to get a Connacht Rugby ball as well as a little memento. So I think that's a nice one. It's a nice little touch. It'll get they're recognising the grassroots to green shirts initiative, and that's all part and parcel of that. So anyone from the area that want to get their kids in there, I think it's 25 quid per person, but you get a free rugby ball with that, and then you meet all the players and you get a nice. I think it's a 90-minute coaching session, so that should be good for anyone who wants to develop their skills.
Yeah, but
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things. Even it's good though if people have never played rugby before either. I think it gives them a chance to experience it firsthand, along with maybe meet some of the players as well. So great opportunity that way.
Yeah.
I suppose in another big news, I suppose we've had Eddie Jones and Wayne Pivak being released from their jobs at the moment in England and Wales, respectively. Not overly surprised with Pivak going, for a simple reason. I think he tried to change the Welsh style, went back to Warren Ball, tried to change it again, and then they're kind of the WRU were kind of like, yeah, this isn't working out. Let's just bring Gatland back. Jones and his shite, I think the RFU had enough of it, and they're kind of saying bad results, things aren't going away. Let's just say goodbye and start from scratch all over again. So not really surprised there. Another thing I want to mention is the under 20 and the women's Six Stations tickets are on sale now at the moment as well, from Ticketmaster. So both we have England and France at home in those games, and both of them are on at Musgrave Park. So that's two potentially very good games. But Sarah, one question I want to ask you, and James, I'll give it to you as well after this, is the way the women's contracts are done, where do you want a lot of the players centralised in Dublin? Do you think it's wise to move the games down to Cork, since they're trying to centralising all the players in Dublin that way? Do you think that was a wise move, or would you have kept it in Dublin, the RDS? International.
I think it's a good PR move to move them around. Yeah, they're like. I think they deserve to be out of Dublin at the same time. It can't all be Dublin based, because it looks like it's Leinster based and stuff. So it is good, but I think they should have moved them from Musgrave Park maybe up to the sports ground as well. Utilise all the big stadiums we have. I mean, look at the sports ground. It's fantastic what they've done up there. I've never been to Ulster's grounds. I've never been there, so I don't know what it's like. But I think if they're going to do that, they should have utilised the sports ground for the second game, for the France game or something. You know, get people travelling, get that PR rolling. But the contracts thing, it's a real touchy subject. You know, you want people. I don't know. It's just not. They're not tempting them enough, I don't think. But I'd love to be able to get down to one of those games. I'd preferred if it was in up in Connacht. I prefer to travel that way than down the country. To be honest with you, it's just longer. 2.5 hours up the road to the sports grounds, like, you know.
Yeah, you should just cut straight across the country that way, I suppose. Anyway, and just
100%. I just think it's a PR move that they've moved them down to Cork.
Yeah.
I agree with you as well. Good to see. Yeah, good to see them. Good to see them moving around the country, and yeah, obviously I'd be happy seeing the sports ground. But I would travel to Thomond Park or to, you know, as well, to go and watch those games. To see an international game locally, it's great, absolutely fantastic. Again, the money that they've offered some of the ladies, like it's they still have to work full time. You know, even with the contracts that were given, like that's you know, I think get serious about it, get real about it, and give proper, decent central contracts to, you know, that's worthwhile. That someone can actually focus on their game full time and be a professional rugby player. You know, Babine Parsons there now needs to get a proper proper wage out of it, and needs to be able to earn a living from it. Now it's a short enough career for any rugby player. So they need to be paid properly. Okay, the women's game isn't attracting the numbers the same way, but that's improving. That is getting better. And I think if we had professional women players that were, you know, performing at a high level, you know, success will bring success. It'll breed the interest in the game as well. You know, everybody loves a winner. You know, and I'm just thinking about the whole Wales situation there. They're bringing Gatlin back in. Like, that's, you know, you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. You know, it's not. They're I don't know what. Like we spoke about it, or I know you guys on it last week, and I was thinking the same thing. What's he going to do? Why is he going to go back in there? Like, what's he going to achieve now? He has a bunch of donkeys there. They're not performing at club level. Okay, when they pull on the red shirt, they all up the game, but they're still at there's needs to be a fundamental change in the way that the structure is going away. Sarah.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's like bringing sand to the beach.
No, but one thing I'd say about the contract games, and this might surprise you as well, is a lot of the players that were brought into 15 games that were signed up actually have sevens contracts as well. I think there's 15, 20 players, if I'm right. Now I'm open to correction in this, but they have sevens contracts as well. Along with the old likes of Parsons, I think Mulhall is in there as well. There's quite a few others. So I'm wondering, why are they bringing 7 players off to 15's game when they should be kind of said, right, if you want to play sevens, you're playing sevens unless you demand you press the switch. If you
I think one of the reasons, Danny. Sorry, I think one of the reasons, Danny, is the focus or the amount of attrition there is at you know, maybe 14, 15, 16 years of age in the women's game. Girls tend to leave it and they're not following through. So maybe we're having the same pool of players. That could be part of parcel. That's why we're spread so thin between the 7s and the 15s.
Yeah, but
that's my take on it.
I know, but the point I was about to make is if you had that at senior level and you brought that down through the ranks, at least then female players have to, instead of me just play both, they kind of I have a pat with 15s if I want to play 15s, I have a pat with 7s if I want to play 7s. So if they have that clarity there, it might get more interest saying I have a choice of 2 games if I want to go that way instead of being expected to play both. That's my kind of thinking of the subject anyway. So maybe
give them a decent contract and a decent wage if they want to play both. Like, there's a reason a lot of those players that from 7s to 15s are still on the fence and undecided about their contract because it's shite. It's shite money. You're not going to say you're not going to play 2 teams for pittance. Yeah. Jesus, like, throw them up against the wall and shoot them now. Like, you know, that's you can't do that. That's disrespectful.
Yeah, you get as much, no disrespect to people packing shelves and duns, but you would get as much money packing shelves and duns as there as professional sports people representing the country.
No, 100%.
Oh no,
100%.
I'm not going to disagree with you, James. They're offering basically a minimum wage. That's basically what they're offering, a minimum wage.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully that'll change a couple of years down the line. But
Yeah, but they were, how long? It's not 12 months ago that they were changing a tent beside a fucking tip. You know, the respect they haven't been given that level of respect that they deserve. And this game is based on respect, you know. So
yeah,
it doesn't sit well with me at all, you know.
No, you can be guaranteed a lot of those men's players. Sexton hangs up his boots. They're nearly handed a PR, their sponsorship, their coaching roles. It's all handed to them. Whereas the women have to work, and if they finish up and retire, then they're struggling to try and get a job, a career. It's just they shouldn't have to push themselves and put their bodies on the line.
Yeah,
it's just.
There's only ones or twos that are getting, into punditry and stuff like that. The likes of Emer Considine and those are just looking enough to get those type of gigs out of it as well, and extend the career out as well. So yeah, I really, for the effort they put in, because they work equally as hard as any 100%. Other player, like equally as hard, for a very little reward. No, very depressing situation, isn't it?
Yeah, but James, I remember watching that Inter-Pro series last year. I remember saying to myself, when the whole thing came out about the kind of changing situation at Donnybrook.
Yeah.
I said, the worst thing about this is what the Inter-Pro series will be remembered for. I watched all 3 games back, and there was 3 extra rounds of rugby. That's what, 2, 4, 6 great games of rugby watched. And everyone's changing situation. It shouldn't be the fucking case.
Yeah.
Now, the other benefit of that was you had players coming up and standing out, because all our internationals were away in a qualifying tournament, which didn't, as we all remember, that went to shit as well, losing Spain, losing Scotland.
Yeah.
But from a Munster perspective, we had Chloe Pierce come in, who was an ex-international at Loosehead, who was an absolute revelation. We had Maeve O'Leary coming into the back row, who really put her hand up and showed how much potential she has. You had Maureen Wall, a fellow Kerry woman, doing good. She actually got into a squad for the Japan tour, not the extended squad at least anyway. We saw how good Nicole Coleman was as well at 10, who's a former scrum half herself. Played international, I think, in the 2017 World Cup. She showed how good attention she can be and how good she can cover that. And there's a few other players here and there. And no one remembers that. No one remembers the good rugby. No one remembers seeing players put their hand up for the national gig. But everyone remembers the changing room situation. And that fucking pisses me off. When you're watching rugby, you remember what happens on the field. Not the shite that happens off it. I think the RDS was nearby, which is only a few minutes from walk from Donnybrook. And there's enough halls there where if they wanted to literally kind of have times that they could go into the RDS changing room, a couple of halls, Conk here, Ulster here, Munster here, Leinster here. You had enough time and space to say, there you go, there's a changing facilities. I'm sure there's a club or GA club nearby that said, look, we give one of our changing rooms to a team to decide who's going there and leave them off. They have the chance to go in there, change in private, wash up, clean up, all that sort of stuff. There's been times I've played matches and I've literally just whipped off the dirty gear, put on a pair of tracksuit pants at the top, and I had to wait till I go home to shower because there's no facilities there for us. And no, that's for the second 15s with Killarney at junior club rugby, which you might say that's grand, that's fair enough, that's acceptable. But when you go to provincial level, no matter what age grade you are or gender you are, you expect these facilities there, proper facilities there for this sort of stuff. So
it was all over social media. There was spectators walking by videoing it, and that's how it made social media. Everybody's seen it. It's just, it's not good enough. No matter what level women's team are playing at, especially at international level, it is not good enough to be treated like that. And you'd expect some of those big boys on the big team, you know, to speak up. They should be. If they've any respect for the women's side that they led on to on live television, they should be speaking up, taking to social media and saying, this is not good enough, lads. This needs to be done. That's just my concern.
Oh no, Sarah, I'd agree with you. If I was in either Peter Mangan's position or Sexton's position or stuff, I'd be kind of saying, look, these women are representing the same jersey we're representing. They deserve the same treatment we deserve. You put on this jersey, you're one of us. You get the same treatment we get, or the best we can get. Not changing in some second scrapyard halfway. But I think Claire definitely was at that match, the double header for the final round. And she said there's 2 porta potties there for all the fans, players, staff.
I was at that game.
Oh yeah,
disgraceful.
Yeah,
it was disgraceful. There was people going back to their cars and nearly weeing beside their cars because that you know what you do. Like, that's okay for kids, but adults, come on.
Yeah.
It's not good enough.
No, I mean, like, to be honest with you, if you're a drunken night out and you're passing that place and you need to go, you'd say, fair enough, I'll do it on the way home. But like, in the middle of the day during a match, regardless of the situation, I mean, come on, some bit of common sense. And like, I'm sure there's other clubs that have said, look, lads, we'll give you our facilities. I know Killarney Celtic, who were right across the way from us at the time, they'd offer facilities as well if there were ever needs for people, because you'd normally have a groundsman that was there at the same time doing stuff. I did have a match on, so people were always told, oh yeah, work away. Fair play, work away. Need to use places. You get to do any business, off you go. It's grand. People understood.
Are we going to talk about the games of the weekend at all, are we? Before we bore everyone to death here.
Not James. This has been completely enough.
You start us off there.
Yes, at this point now that Burke normally says you shut the fuck up, doesn't it?
Actually, shut the fuck up, Brendan. No one's listening to you. Shut up, Brendan. No. Shut up.
So anyway, come here. Did you
James turn into Billy Brave, Alex? There.
Did you see the Connacht game?
Billy Brave, bitch.
I don't know what. I was listening to last week's video, and I don't know what sort of drugs Peter Martin was on anyway, saying how Connacht had stagnated, and you all chimed in and agreed. And then we give a five try bonus point win then in the sports grounds. I don't know what stagnation is there, but come here. The highlight of that game has to be 6'7" Niall Murray running from inside his own half to score the first try on about 3.5 minutes. He went like a gazelle, so he did, up the middle of the field, ball under the arm. And the last defender there was the fullback. He sort of stepped sideways. They're coming at 6'7", coming at him at full tilt. And apparently Niall Murray has been on about how he's fast and how he's a speedster and everything to Andy Friend. And he proved it. He absolutely proved it. It was a sight to behold, an absolute sight to behold.
And he's only a young lad. Is he? He's only a young lad, James.
Yeah. He's only what, 23, 24, something like that. I think.
I love it.
Yeah, he's brilliant. And his brother plays there as well. He's the brother has the desperate mullet altogether. Jesus, it's an awful looking thing altogether. It is shocking. But anyway, they're all the kids are starting to wear the mullets as well now. Whatever's the fascination with it.
Oh, the young fella. Business at the front and party at the back.
Yeah.
And pressure at the side, yeah.
There's another that Boyle chap played very well, and Prendergast played very well on the fringes.
Yeah, they were brilliant. Paul Boyle was exceptional, and then there was a try there. I think it was in the second half where there was a line out set piece. Bundy slipped the pass off to Boyle, and he just burst through. It was magic.
Yeah.
Okay, you can argue the opposition wasn't that great. It wasn't that brilliant and everything, but still they pulled it together. The passing was slick. The move worked. They did the business. They did their 5 point. Okay, they got caught out with a little knock on there, and they got Benetton got a soft try back against them. But I was happy enough with it. Unfortunately, I didn't get the first round. I was up in on the Leitrim coastline, but I was watching it on my iPad, and it was great. Absolutely, really enjoyed it.
But Carty was good off the tee as well.
It was, yeah, including what impressed me as well. They played the full 82 minutes. Even when the clock was red, they went for the corner, went for the juggler, and scored another try. And Carty nailed it from the sideline, right between the posts. Yeah, so he was on form. But again, as I've said before, Jack, he's a confidence player. When his confidence is up, he's brilliant. But if he gets knocked at all or doesn't go well the first couple of kicks or whatever, he struggles a bit. So yeah, I think he needs to work on the strong mentality and that mental side of the game that he can improve. But I think he's as good as any 10 in the country. When he's playing well and the confidence is up.
Actually,
Yeah.
James, one thing I say is, I think a Nathan Doker or John Cooney with him at 9 would be great. For a place he can kind of play, yes, because or even someone else because when you had Stephen Fitzgerald in there at 15, and Carty was kind of saying, kind of going, I'm not great with it. He looked at it, he's looking over and short, says, "We take over the duties, I just take over the playmaking," and he's that way. Then it's not too bad for him that way. Sarah,
he's great. He's a great playmaker, and yeah, it's a good point. And I was impressed with him the time when the kicking wasn't going well, that he did hand over the kicking duties, and he was out in the field and made that decision himself. He said, "Look, okay, it's not working out for me this evening," but he did the playmaker role and hand over the kicking duties. Yeah, mature.
I think that's important as well for a lot of teams to have that kind of auxiliary place kicker. We've seen Conor Murray do it national squad, so maybe that helps as well. Sarah, the Leinster Ulster game from Saturday night.
Oh yeah, that was a stellar performance. Like I thought that was, I was out in the pub watching this at the weekend, and I was on the edge of my seat like an absolute nut. And I actually thought, to start it off, I thought the referee did a good job. I was a bit sad to see Stockdale go off after 10 minutes. I think his confidence is shot with that last injury he had, which is awful. And I think even from about 20 minutes, that dismissal by Cian Healy, which was overturned today, which was great news. Like Leinster were very much behind at 22-3 and advanced, they advanced from that. Like Leinster dug deep and they 35 consecutive points. Either side at the interval, they just kept moving. What was it, 9 points clear? Now they're 9 points clear, from the top of the table. But the standout players for me was Porter. He's like a man possessed coming on. Like he's a big unit as it is, but he seemed to spark that extra bit of aggression, and that turned the tide a little bit. Gibson Park, I actually thought he was awful the first half. Thankfully, he improved. I thought, Jesus Christ Almighty, put somebody else on at one stage. I thought Hugo Keenan and Gary Ringrose, they were like magicians. That was an unbelievable comeback for Leinster. But I thought Bird, he was my standout player. 80 minutes. He hand up. That was some outstanding performance for him. Like I really did rate him. I think on a Ulster point of view, losing Cooney and Henderson, that didn't help. And I thought the yellow card against Hume, that was harsh. Ringrose actually turned his head into him in the motion of kind of twisting. So I thought that was a bit harsh. As much as I do rate Lowe, he was very lucky not to get, at least a yellow for that leading forearm. Let's be honest, I'm very much Leinster all the way, but that was dangerous. But I'd say Ulster must be bemused at letting that lead slip. You'd have to be sick to the pit of your stomach walking off and getting back on the bus and heading back up the road for letting that slip.
I'd love to know what Leo said to them at half time. It must have been a real hairdryer treatment, because Jesus,
had to be.
because like I saw bits and pieces of this match here and there, and I missed the Healy sending off, all right. But when I saw the at the time, I said, yeah, that kind of warrants a red, because like he was high, there was enough head and neck.
Yeah.
So I said, at the time that was a fair call. Low, as you said, was lucky as well not to get carded for leading with 4. But I did see a few people on Twitter, cesspool that it is, basically saying that it shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. Laws should never have been carded and all this sort of crack anyway. It's just typical rugby kind of stuff. But you get people like that, I suppose. Maybe they're some old stock or some way with fairies or something like that. But there's dangerous play there anyway. I think in 2 of those. The Edinburgh Munster match. I saw half this game, and I'll be honest with you, it was a good, strong performance from Munster. We were down at halftime, came back good in the second half. We showed how good we can be, all right. The only thing is, the more Edinburgh seemed to tire, the more we woke up, the more energy we got. It's like, we're zapping them out, we're taking away taking all the energy, and just had that more drive in it. I think that's coming good from Roundtree now as well. And I think hopefully it's be a good lead now into Champions Cup next week. Unfortunately, we're out of time in the video. Our time is just about finishing up the next couple of seconds, so if we get cut off, apologies. So, James Grennan, I say good night. Sarah Duffy, I say good night. I'll post this video up on Thursday in the group, okay?
No worries. Good to see you, lads. Chat soon.
Enjoy the rugby the weekend, folks.
You too.
Mind yourself.
Take care.